Welcome back, folks. You're watching Sport Federation TV, of course, every Friday night, 9 p.m. And then, of course, we repeat on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. in case you missed the Friday show. And folks, the South African National Pigeon Organization is, of course, also one of South Africa's national sports. And they've got multiple codes within that sports structure, such as racing pigeons and fancy pigeons. Now, we've had him on the show on a number of occasions in studio, Fadiel Hendricks. And Fadiel is, of course, one of the patrons of the South African National Pigeon Organization. And we managed to catch up with Fadiel a few days ago just to find out how fancy pigeons and racing pigeons is doing at the moment. Joining me on the line now is the president of Western Cape Fancy Pigeons, but he's also the patron of pigeon racing in South Africa. I think I've got all those titles right. Fadiel Hendricks. Fadiel, fantastic to have you back on the show.
Good morning to you, JP, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to the people of the sports people of the Republic of South Africa, especially in the Western Cape.
Yeah, Fadiel, I mean, we've had you in the studio before. Of course, now we're on lockdown and we have to do things slightly differently. And we've engaged with you before around pigeon racing and fancy pigeons. I mean, we've even had some of the birds in the studio. But racing pigeons and fancy pigeons, and the National Pigeon Flying Organization in South Africa is an enormous organization.
Yes, it is. You know, I don't think we as fanciers over the years has done justice to the South Africa, to be honest with you. You know, maybe through various reasons why not. But at this very moment in time, South African National Pigeon Association, the biggest racing pigeon or the biggest pigeon federation in the Republic of South Africa. JP, if we're looking at the racing pigeon sport in South Africa, yes, as you just mentioned, we got the $1 million pigeon race, okay, and we got various other little races as well.
Okay, Fadiel, let's go back a step here. Please explain to me the difference between a racing pigeon and a fancy pigeon.
Okay, so I'm going to go to you and speak about fancy pigeon. Okay, racing pigeons is over 100 years old. Fancy pigeon goes way back a few thousand years. Okay, we're looking at certain breeds which comes from the time of the pharaohs, which is the Jacobin pigeon, and we're looking at the bar pigeon, which is an Asian pigeon, but has taken from Asia into Europe and has been domesticated, or I would say maybe in Europe as well, in the UK, where the racing pigeon actually comes from these pigeons.
Right.
You know, we have the racing pigeons over 100 years, from pigeons like the dragoon, which is a fancy pigeon, the barb, which is a fancy pigeon. Okay, and so this is where racing pigeons has come from. Yes.
I mean, when we're talking here about showcasing fancy pigeons, I mean, I think fancy pigeons is maybe the word that you use. I mean, we see other sport codes also showcasing their animals. We see dogs showcasing dogs, and we see cat shows. We even on a quite a regular basis here on the show have equestrian sports where they are showing. In fact, those are the words that they use, showing, where they showcase their horses and how fancy those horses are. And essentially what you're telling me is, I mean, we have this across the board. We even have this in fish and koi and things like that. You're telling me about, it's the pigeon. It's how fancy the pigeon itself is.
Well, you know, JP, every pigeon, including the racing pigeon, is standard. And you got to breed that pigeon. You know, it's not an easy task. Okay, so if you're looking at the racing pigeon itself, is also a show pigeon. It participates in shows.
Yeah.
You understand me? The only part of the racing pigeon that is different from the fancy pigeon is that his results of his racing get taken into consideration as well. Where the fancy pigeons only got, that's why I always make, and I think I made it on the show previously as well. The racing pigeon, we call them the Michael Johnsons of the sky, and the fancy pigeons, we call the Naomi Campbells of the catwalk. You know, but
Fadiel, let's just talk a little bit about the practical side of things now. As we've had it on, we've spoken about previously. I remember a few years ago, one of the things that really put racing pigeons on the map was Mike Tyson's show, his documentary of where he was flying his birds out of the loft on his at his apartment, I think, or on the top of his building. So racing pigeons, fancy pigeons, this is something that is very popular. A lot of people can do it.
It's a sport. It's a sport where if I had a long chat with Mike Tyson, because I judged a few years ago, 2015. Okay, whereby I was invited to his loft as well. Unfortunately I can't send you the pics of it right now, but I'll share with you as time goes on. But where his experience with pigeons and the love that he had for pigeons, and what has the pigeon actually done to his life, is unbelievable. After watching his video, you actually got tears in your eyes watching it. Okay, but racing pigeons, or pigeons in general, okay, is one of the quickest sold pets at pet shops.
The athletes at the moment, and when we're talking about the athletes, you're obviously talking about your fanciers, but you're also talking about the birds themselves. Have our athletes been able to, I would imagine that under the COVID regulations, you're able to fly your birds out of your loft. There's no social distancing. I mean, how has it been working? Has the athletes been able to train at least?
JP, yes, it was a problem at first. For the first 2 months, I would say first 2 months of the year of COVID, it was a major problem. Okay, we had to draw up certain document and rules within the racing that would adhere to the social distancing that had to be implemented. Okay, so that is what we basically have done. Okay, is that we rest, and thanks to other sports code boards as well, and supported us. Okay, too many of them to mention. You understand, that actually assisted us as a sports code, because we all part and parcel of SASCOC. So we tend to work with one another when it comes to this. Okay, where their supporting document for their code and our supporting documents to our code has actually gone to the Department of Sport, and then they allowed us to race under these conditions.
So going on exactly what I think where we were heading there, the development of the athlete. Just a last question for you, for members of the public that are watching now, and we have many different people watching from all different sort of sectors. If people want to get involved, if people want to start fancy pigeons or racing pigeons, how do you get involved? How do you get started?
JP, first of all, there's the website. I think you got it on your screen. Yep. www.sanford.co.za. That's the national web. Even once you go to that website, you'll be able to get off also the fancy pigeons from there. Okay, but the fancy pigeons also got a website, which is www.fancypigeons.co.za.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So, but the South African National Pigeon Organization, okay, which I'm chief patron of, everything's on their website. So you can actually just go to their website.
That's fantastic, Fadiel. We're going to leave it there, you might be happy to know that when I was a youngster a few years ago, I in fact had an old piano box, and I had some pigeons in my garden, in my piano box with some mesh wire, and I had my own birds there. I didn't know anything about what I was doing, but I had my birds in the garden.
That was enough. You see, that's basic, JP. Everybody gets started with some sort of love that they have. You understand me? Maybe I must bring some more pigeons to you.
Fadiel, we'll leave it at that. We'll say thanks for chatting with us, and we'll definitely keep following the progress. We're looking forward to find out that you guys are slowly getting, let's say, back in the air. Normally we say back on the park, but we think with the birds back in the air, and we look forward to a lot of photographs and a lot of videos, and obviously and we obviously say to you guys, stay safe out there, and follow all the health and safety precautions.
Thank you very much. Thank you, JP, for giving me this opportunity to speak about our sport. That's to me. I can't thank you enough for giving this opportunity to portray the sport out there to the general public via your TV station. Thank you for your team as well.
It's our pleasure, Fadiel. Thanks very much. We'll speak again soon. Folks, welcome back. When we come back from a break, we'll carry on talking about the sport in the Western Cape.